Hey guys, it's Fallen Lorelei. Sorry about the audio quality of this video. I was recording this, went to preview, and it turns out my headset is broken or something. It was not recording me right, so I'm using my webcam's audio, and I hope it turns out okay. Alright, but anyway, part 3 of my large forest tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually bring in this map into RPG Maker. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is make sure that we did everything correctly during our first rate mapping. And what I mean is looking at the boundaries of our maps, right? I have this red line here, and making sure we didn't make any big mistakes. And by that I mean making sure that these trees are clearly blocking entrances and exits that we might not want. For example, I see one right here, this tree. So we only want the entrance to this map to be here, right, and down here too, but in this case we just want the user to go down here. That way we only need 1, 2, 3 events, right, to switch maps. But if the user is down here, or the player, right, user, player, whatever, and they go up here, they're going to try maybe to enter the map through here. And you could potentially like have a treasure chest here, but you'd have to block it off again, and it's just not worth it. Instead, what I recommend you do is move this tree down slightly enough that they can see the trunk like here, and not try to move up because there's clearly a tree in the way. So with our auto select on, we can click this tree and just bring it down ever so slightly. And I try to keep it in a square, but because we only have, we have 2 open tiles here, I'm going to put it right in the middle there, so I can block off both tiles, you know, when we do the movement restrictions or the region restrictions. And maybe even bring it down a little bit more so that it's like the whole tile that I'm blocking off. And that way the user, you know, understands, okay, there's this big tree here, I'm not supposed to go this way. Okay, so we're going to look through our guide here and just make sure that it's clear that the user just can't walk that way. Okay, and this is going to be, right, so right here, alright. And this looks silly, the way the tree is in front of this tree. I wonder if we can move this around without messing up everything. Probably not. Don't worry about it. I say don't worry about it because this guideline is here, so they don't even see this side. But do we want to block off this area? No, because they can't really get over there. So, here's another really good example here. You remember our treasure chests that I put in? Let me see. Right, I have a treasure here, so I want the user to go down and over and then up. But what they might end up doing is trying to go up through this tile here, not seeing that there's a tree here, get frustrated, and maybe like not even try. I don't know. Right, so we're going to want to move this tree down a tiny bit. Okay, and you'll notice, well, look, it's going in front of this tree here, and it's honestly going to be a huge headache to move everything around to make sure that, actually, okay, so in this case, this tree is all by itself. I can easily move it on top of that tree, the small tree. I'll show you what I mean. And I'll just put it, I don't know, here, yes. Yeah, awesome, okay. So that only works because this tree is by itself. If there was a whole cluster of trees like this, moving the layers around would be a headache, so you just wouldn't bother. You would probably just keep the tree like that, like just a subtle little hint of a trunk, and that would be enough. But because we could do that, I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy down. Do I want him in the 2 there? Nah, I'll put him right here. Alright. So now when the user comes over, they're going to go through this square, and that's where we can put our, you know, map change events. Alright, let's keep looking. You will definitely miss a spot or 2, right? That's kind of guaranteed. Here's this guy. When you do this kind of map, you're going to be making a ton of mistakes, and you're going to be making or getting a ton of headaches, and you're going to hate yourself. But, you know, I talked about this last time. That's fine, right? That's okay. I'm going to move this tree down a little bit, okay, so that they know they can't go in through here. These would be our map change events. And over here, yeah, this is fine. I'm looking at this tile here, but we just will make sure they can't go that way, so that's okay. Alright, let's look at, where's my other event here? I'm looking up here. This is fine because they see the trees here. Actually, I'm going to move this just a little bit over like that. And we can make our user be able to walk up right this way, but just not walk over into the new map. Same with over here. Can move him over a bit, like that. Actually, a little bit more. Just like that. Okay. And then I'll just go down. Okay, here we go. Actually, no. In this case, this is fine because there's this big river here, and they're walking here, but there's no way to get over. That's fine. And again, you will see me, you know, miss something and be like, oh no, Lorelai, you missed something. And I'll get it when I'm mapping, and I'll be like, oh, I have to do everything all over again. But that's okay. Yeah, and this is good because we have a huge cluster of trees here, so that was easy. Alright, I think that's it, right? Because we looked already at the horizontal line. Okay, alright, so now we're ready to do the most tedious part of this. I know you could argue putting in the trees was pretty tedious. I think that was a little bit of fun. This part's not so fun. Hold on, I'm trying to close this folder here, and this folder, and this folder, and this folder. Okay, this is when we go through, find out where the user can walk, and make the overlay layer. It's going to be terrible, and I almost don't even want to do it live, live recording, because I'm going to be making mistakes, so it's just going to be a mess. But you know what? That's okay. Hide treasure. Go ahead and make a new layer, call it overlay, or whatever you want to call it. Grab your rectangle marquee tool, and let's get started. Okay, so for this tutorial, I think what I'm going to do is just this map, just this first little map that we have, because it has the water and the bridge and the overlay. And then what you guys can do is apply what I've taught to do all of the others. Just because I don't want to make another 2-hour video. I don't think people actually watch 2-hour videos. So I'm just going to do this first map here. Let's go ahead and just grab our rectangle marquee tool, and let's just start highlighting places. So again, what you kind of want to do is just imagine your character walking in and going underneath these trees and seeing where exactly they're walking. So actually what's happening is my character can walk through here, but they're not necessarily walking up here because there's this tiny little chunk there you can see. So what you can do is just highlight here, and when you highlight this this tile here, I like to do it because I like the shadow to go on top of my character, so even this whole thing, but you don't want this moss going on top of your character. So that's something you have to decide, right? If you want to actually be super precise and grab the Polygon Tool and grab it. But you know what, sometimes we even just take out the shadow altogether in the overlay, so maybe don't even worry about it. I just wasted your time talking about this shadow. So just you can highlight this, right, this little tree here, and then when you want to highlight another thing or select another thing, you're going to hold down Shift, right? So where are we walking? We're going to be walking up here and probably this tile too, but then no further. We're walking over here, not walking on top of this tree, so we're going around. And are we walking on top of this tree? No, not so much. Okay, but we are walking behind these trees. So you can just grab that whole thing there and grab that much. Let's see. We're not... okay, I'll let them go behind there. They're not walking here. They are walking up here. When you're highlighting, don't worry about these leaves, right? Or, you know, the sticks and everything else that we put down, the flowers, because those are in the foliage layer, and we're not going to be saving that. So that's why we layer things off. Let me see here. What about these trees? Yeah. So like these sticks here. Go ahead and highlight it. It doesn't matter because we aren't going to save that. Let me see. So we're walking up here and over. You could put like a treasure chest up here if you wanted. I wonder. But we're not walking up here or up here. Okay. What about here? Am I going to let them walk? Yeah. I don't see the harm in walking on top of the bottom of the trunk here. But in this case, what you're going to want to do is use the Polygon Tool. Okay, hold down Shift and just roughly grab onto these leaves. The reason that we're doing it this way is because if I highlight this whole square, there we go, I'm going to be also highlighting the trunk, right? And we don't want the trunk on top of the character. That doesn't make any sense. So it's a little bit of extra work, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so let's keep going. Like that, and like that. It doesn't matter if you grab onto the shadow, because my whole spiel from over there, we can take out the shadow. And then here, you have a decision to make. Do you want your character to walk against the map here? So again, this red line is the end of our map. Do you want them to be walking all the way across, but just not be able to get through? Okay, that's something you can decide. I'm going to go ahead and save that in my overlay, but I'm not going to necessarily use it, right? So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just make sure that you're adding more than you're forgetting, you know what I mean? So that you can just decide where your character can move with the Yanfly region restrictions, and you don't have to go back and change your overlay. But that being said, you are going to be making a ton of mistakes, and that's okay. You're going to be hating yourself. You're going to be editing your overlay probably more than twice for each map, and that is okay. I just want you to know that's okay. That happens to me all the time. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to let him walk, you know, all the way to the edge of the map, and if I change my mind, then that's fine. Okay. Something else to keep in mind, highlight everything that is over the water, except for the items that are already in our water overlay, okay? So like this big tree here. Everything that's over the water. That, and then, ooh, what about this? So he's walking this way. Am I going to let him walk on top of this trunk here? You know, sometimes it looks okay when you let them walk, you know, in this square with the trunk like halfway down. Sometimes it looks weird. So what I'm going to do is play it safe. I'm going to grab my Polygon Tool, hold down Shift, and just highlight around this trunk, this little branch, I mean, so that if I do decide that I want her or him to be able to walk on this tile, they're behind that. But I don't know if I'll allow it. Okay. Oh, they can walk behind the trunk too. That's fine. And here, yeah. And also, it's not the end of the world to just highlight, select this whole square there. Okay. So this tree, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight the whole thing, even though I'm only doing this map. This tree. This tree, yeah, and this is fine. We're going down here. Yep, we're going to be walking through here and through here, not necessarily through up here. Not here. There's a big cut down trunk in the way, but we can do this. And again, you got to make the decision of whether or not you want your character to walk to the edge of the map. If it looks like they shouldn't be able to because of the cluster of trees, then just block it off. I'll go ahead and just highlight, you know, all the way to the bottom just in case. You can always just remove that part. Yeah, and they can walk over here. If they walk over here, they're going to want to go down. So I'm not going to let them. I'll still highlight it, because whatever. Okay, let's see. This way, yeah, like this whole area here. This big old tree. Little parts. Okay, and I'm not going to do this map. I'm just going to be showing you with this map. Okay, yeah. And am I going to let him walk over here? Why not? Right, why not? And explore some. And there we go. And here. And here. Okay. We're over here. I haven't forgotten about these middle trees, don't worry. All the way up pretty much, right? This whole part. But not here, because there's a chunk in the way. Okay, and how far over do I want them to be walking? Probably not too far, right? Because there are chunks in the way. So maybe just one tile over should be okay. How far did I go up here? Not that far. This is something you have to decide. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. Or highlight it and save it as the overlay, just in case, and then I can change my mind later. Like that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just highlight all of it. There we go. Okay, so the middle trees I gotta do. So just like I said earlier, if you see me make a mistake, I'm sorry, right? You're probably screaming at your monitor, oh my god, Lorelai, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're making this mistake, this obvious mistake that's right in front of you. And I'm like, I know. I'm talking at the same time, so I have like no focus. But that's okay, because once I start doing the editing in the program, I'm going to realize what mistakes I've made. And I'm going to highlight the house, just the top of the house. And what else? I think that I've got most of it. I think so. Oh, here. Right in, since it's on top of the water there. Oops. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. This is also on top of the water. Although, I'm probably going to take out the shadows, right? So, And the bridge is on top of the water, but we're going to do something else with the bridge. We're going to do something different. Just you wait, it's going to be really good. Alright, 100%. No, full screen. It doesn't matter. 100. Okay. So we got all this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy this overlay and save it. But before we do that, we have to hide all of the layers that we don't want in our overlay. For example, my bottom layer, my ground layer, foliage, okay. Oh yeah, look at this. So I was going to get rid of bushes, but then I double checked. I looked at this trunk here and realized character can probably walk on top of the trunk. Or not on top, below the trunk. You know what I mean. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to keep bushes, keep all my trees. I'm going to get rid of bridge for now. And just checking to make sure that there's nothing that I'm accidentally grabbing. I'm going to hide water. No, I'm not going to hide water. No, I am going to hide water, because we're still going to save the water, but I'm hiding it from our selection. And when that happens, when you accidentally unselect everything, just make sure that your history window is up, your history panel, and just click back, like that, okay? So I accidentally unselected everything, because I forgot to hit my space bar, moving the map around. Okay. There we go. I think this is good. I think that I got most of it, and I can always go back and add some more. There, fix that up. Okay. Yes. Probably fine. I don't know. Alright, when you think you've got it, go go ahead and go to Edit, Copy, Merged. Okay, and with Overlay, I think we can go ahead and make a new layer. Doesn't matter what you call it, and go to Paste Special, Paste in Place. Alright, there we go. What we can do is click this eyeball to preview. Just what we're doing is making sure that it actually pasted it in place. Sometimes it's like a few pixels to the side, in which case you would just use your arrow keys to move it over to align it. But that didn't happen here. We want to get rid of the shadow like I decided. Okay, hold on. I need to make sure that sometimes it works, but now in this case it's just doing something like that. Okay. There, so that's too much. I'm trying to get rid of the shadow. I need to make sure. See how I'm selecting the shadow, but it's also selecting other colors too. I don't want that. I'm just playing with the tolerance. This is good. Okay, so what I have is a tolerance of 10, and I unselected contagious, so that means it is getting like all of these, which is what we want. And then delete. Good job. And then we can preview it like this, turn it on and off, and if there's no difference, then you did it right. Good job. Alright. Go ahead and make everything visible again. Gonna fit on screen. And I'm going to actually get rid of my... No, I'm going to keep my extra. I'm going to get rid of the grid for now. Just because it's ugly. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you guys the secret of saving all of these little maps, okay? And it actually highly depends on your computer, how fast your computer is. What we're pretty much doing is making 6 duplicates of this entire map and then cropping them to be just that small map and then saving it that way, like so. So with all of this right here, I'm going to go to Image, Duplicate. Okay, doesn't matter what I call it, I'm just going to press OK. And now I have 2 of the same image. Okay, but with this copy image, I'm going to use my marquee tool, highlight this first map, okay, with my snap on, that way it's snapping directly onto my guidelines here. I'm going to do an image crop. And it takes a sec, right? But there you go. Now we have just the first map here. Ta-da! Okay, and so pretty much what you're going to do is do that with all of your maps, right? You're going to duplicate it at least 6 times, 5 more times, crop it, and then we're going to save this. Okay, so I'm going to save it. Go to Export, Save for Web, Save as a PNG. We're saving it into the Parallaxes folder, okay, of your game with an exclamation point at the top. Remember that exclamation point first because we want the map to stay in place, and that's what the exclamation point does. And I already have Forest Tutorial 1, so I'm going to save that. Yes, replace. Okay, so I saved the parallax that we're going to use when we put it into the game. Now what we're going to do is save the overlay. So hide everything, including the bridge. Okay, but make sure that you have water. Okay, also you're going to have water and overlay. And why didn't I save that? Or this little area? See, this is when you see all the mistakes. I should have seen the mistakes when I was doing it over here, but you know what? That's fine. We can always fix it later. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm going to go to File, Export, Save for Web. Okay, and then here, this is important, and I don't know why I'm saving it now. We're going to call this par, and then the ID of our map. Well, we don't have a map ID yet, so I'm going to go to RPG Maker, New, right, New Map, and I'll just call it Forest 1. Okay, tile set's going to be outside 2. If you saw my parallax mapping tutorial 3.5, right, we made this outside 2. That's important because of the water tile. What was the width? 25 by 20, I think? Yeah, I think so. Go ahead and open our Parallax Forest Tutorial 1. Okay. I think that's everything. Press OK. And there we go. Do 1 by 1. Beautiful. Isn't it pretty? It looks alright. I mean, it's not the greatest map. Well, you could have added like cliffs and waterfalls and stuff to make it more interesting, but I didn't. So what are you going to do? Anyway, figure out the ID of this map. It is 16. You can tell from the bottom here, or you can go to your map properties. It's map 16. And I accidentally canceled my recording while trying to switch back over to Photoshop. Whoops. Hopefully that didn't cause too much of a startle. But where were we? I think we were, yes, saving the overlay. So what we did was we figured out that the ID is 16. So what we do is we save this overlay, calling it par, right, P-A-R, Parallax 16. Okay, par 16, and then go ahead and click save. And this is as a PNG, by the way. Okay, so after we save that, what we're going to do is hide overlay and hide water, but then we're going to show bridge. Okay, go ahead and save for web. We're going to export this one, and this one we're actually going to call ground 16. Okay, so ground, just because of Cow's ultimate overlay, it's in the ground layer, and then 16 is the name of our, or the ID of our map. So save that. And I had saved it earlier just as a test, but that's good. Alright, so now what? We go into our game, edit your map, and in the notes section here, type in par, and then type in ground. Okay, and then press OK. Alright? And now I think we can go ahead and test this. Go to the region restriction number that you have. So mine is set to, where is it? Mine is set to 1. I'll allow 1. And you can start painting. I'm going to go ahead and just test, right? Test to make sure that this all worked. Just like that much. And like some of this overlay here. Alright, I'm going to press play. And fingers crossed. Oh, look, it worked. Okay, one thing, we forgot to add the water. So if you followed my Parallax tutorial 3.5, we made this transparent water tile that we can put right on top of this water. And it's going to look ugly, right, in the map editor, but that's okay. Because it should look fine in game. It should. So even like the bridge is going to get all messed up. And you can't even tell like where your water actually is because of these trees, but that's alright. That is okay. Alright. There we go. I'll press play. See if I did it right. Cool. So the bridge is on top of the water and the water is still animated. And my trees are on top of the water well enough. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish with my regions, because this is also kind of a hard part. You have to remember where you originally wanted to allow your character, and that's why, you know, selecting more than enough is a good plan, because that way you can change your mind here really easily. So we can walk here. Do you remember how far I let my character walk? We can always double check. We can look at our overlay. So at least 1 square. I keep canceling my recording because I'm clicking it in my taskbar at the bottom instead of, you know, where else I'm trying to go. So I keep canceling it. It's so annoying. Anyway, as I was, right? So I'm filling this in. I mean, at least I noticed that I'm canceling it, you know. And this is so tricky, because do we really want our character to walk all the way back here? I had the idea of making the trees be translucent in a way, like kind of transparent, so that when they are behind these trees, they you can still kind of see yourself. But I'm not sure it would work out very well with the water tiles, because it's so ugly like that. So I don't think it would work out. But if you don't have any water, a good idea, maybe a good idea, you can try it out, is to save your overlay with like a, I'll show you, like 50% opacity. Save it like that. And then when your character is walking behind these big trees, they're not totally lost. Because I'm afraid if I have my character walking back here, they're going to lose themselves. So I might just, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Did I let them go up here? Kind of. I can always change my mind. We can see how it looks. Because this is the moment of truth, you know? Like, does it look okay? Sometimes it doesn't look okay. Even though you could have sworn it would be fine. Alright, and here. Ah, you know what? This thing is going to look terrible. This bridge, we're going to have to fix that. How am I going to fix that in this tutorial? Did I save this side? Yes, I did. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, when our character's walking down through here, they're going to be walking through this bridge. Oh, Lord. Alright, here we go. Okay. So I'm walking here. That looks good, right? And I'm walking up here. And it's, ooh, I gotta fix that. So if maybe I can zoom into this area, because my character is slightly higher than 48 pixels, and you know probably your character is too, you're gonna be seeing a lot of this. And the way to fix that is just to go back into your Photoshop and you know preview everything again. Well, maybe you don't have to preview everything, but and just make sure that you, guess you canceled the recording again. I did. I lost where I was. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we were fixing this part here, right? This part. Pretty much just go in, highlight that, and then save it into your overlay. So you're gonna find a lot of these. Whoops. You're gonna find a lot of these if you want to take note of them inside. I don't know, notepad or even like paper and pencil. Oh my god, look at that. Totally forgot about this spot. Okay, so take a note of that because you're just going to be going through and fixing all of this. And yeah, so my character's totally lost. Oops, and here with the region, it's accidentally walking on top of the trunk. But I can fix that. So fix this tree. This looks good. And right, actually no, that looks fine. Here, it's looking good. If you want your character to go all the way down, go for it. That's up to you. And yeah, fix that area. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of places you're going to fix. And if you learn from your mistakes, unlike me, then you will not, you know, make such narrow overlay. Anyway, so learn from learn from my mistakes. How's that? Which I should know by now. Really, I should know not to do that. Okay, and we go across the bridge, and here's the stuff. Beautiful. Okay, right, and we could probably move the character up a little farther here. So again, you can just play with your region restrictions just to see what looks right. See, kind of like on top of the trunk there. So I didn't take note, and obviously I forgot everything, but I know I can do that, and I know I can do that, and maybe that, I don't know, right, where else was there? I want to get rid of this stuff, because it's really unnecessary to be walking all that far. Maybe that far. And what did I accidentally walk over here? I needed to fix here. I already fixed that. Okay. So everything else was kind of okay. I needed to fix some of the trees. But again, that's just going back into Photoshop and fixing up the overlays there. And yeah, it takes some time. But I don't know. I think it's worth it. So what you guys have to do is go in to your Photoshop, fix up the trees if you need to, go back here, make another duplicate, okay, and then make map number 2. Alright, so image crop, let it load, alright, and then begin saving all of this, right? So you've got you would save this as, I don't know, map tutorial 2. Oh, I like this map. So this is actually really nice. You can actually see what the actual map looks like, and I think it looks really pretty. Because there's this big like little lake here. You can't really tell that it's just part of the stream. It just looks like part of the lake. And your character is going to end up walking all the way across, even though this is the right way. So yeah, that's fun. I don't know. So we are saving for web, and I'm not going to do all of this because I didn't even save the overlay. Call it Forest Tutorial 2. Okay, and then you're going to save. Right, get rid of all this. You don't have a bridge in this one, so you don't have to worry about ground. But keep water, keep overlay, and save this as your overlay. This would be par, right, new map. Forest 2, 25, 20. I'll just put it in, right? Anyway, this would be par 17, right? So you would call it par 17 when you saved it. Okay? Alright, but I think I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording because I'm not going to record me doing all of these maps. Oh my god, because that would just take way too long. But I'll stop it, and then how about I just show you guys when I'm done. Okay, so I will talk to you soon. Alright, so while I was fixing up this map, I came up with a few tips that I wanted to share with you guys before I forgot. First is more folders over to the side here. I added 2 new folders. I added this Hide Me folder with the foliage, ground, and layer 0, and I just moved those 3 into this Hide Me. And what this does is allows you to highlight anything, right, that you missed. So remember there was some issues over here. I fixed it already, but let's pretend I forgot to highlight this guy, right? So I go ahead and I highlight this, and instead of having to unclick all 3, right, which will get annoying when you're fixing this guy over here, and then you play your game, and then you realize, oh gosh, I gotta fix this guy over here. Instead, just click Hide Me, right, and then edit, copy, merged, paste in place into the overlay layer, right? So that's just so much easier. Secondly, I added this beneath folder that includes everything, right? That is not the overlay or the water or treasure, but don't have treasure. I should probably just delete treasure, but whatever. Yeah, actually, oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so beneath will let you hide everything really easy, right, with one click, and then you can go ahead and click File, save this overlay. And actually, while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and, well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and copy this stuff here. Okay, I'm going to go to Hide Me here, and I'm going to zoom in a bit, get rid of this trunk with my Alt. Just a little bit of that trunk there, just enough that people notice it. Okay, and then back to 100%, edit, copy, merged. Okay, doesn't matter. And then edit, paste in place. Make sure that it's aligned. It is. Merge down. Okay, hide beneath, right? And then we've got our overlay, and then we can just save this. And it saves a lot of time, especially when you've got 10,000 of these little maps, or at least 6 of them, saves some time. Okay, let's see. What else did I want to show you? Yeah, so I wanted to fix this bridge part. So in here, remember, our character can just walk up through here. It doesn't make any sense unless, you add like a jumping event. You could do that. If character, faces up, then they jump over the rope here, but that's a lot of work. So instead, what I'm going to show you to do is zoom in. We're just going to put this rope in the overlay. So here's bridge. Highlight the bridge part. At least the rope part. You don't have to get the logs. And Hide Me. Right? Look how easy that is. Copy merged, or just copy, right? Because it's just one bridge. And then go into your overlay, edit, paste in place. Okay, and it is in place. You can merge that down. hide beneath and go ahead and save this again as the overlay. Okay, yes. Alright, and then here, what we're going to do is fill in these two squares with something from tile set B. It is a super cheat, but it works. So I'm going to grab this log, put a log here, and then I'm going to grab, I could put a stone, right? I can put a stone here. Okay, that might be too obvious. You could also put, where's the barrel of water? Here. So actually, let's put the barrel of water there, and then the log here. Okay? And then, supposedly, yeah, when we go up, because our tile set, hold on a sec. Or no, our regions. Here. There we go. Fixed. Then when we go up, supposedly, oh, thank goodness, right? Stopped us. And the rope is on top of those two tiles, so it looks more real, you know? You're going to probably have to do that for a lot of things. Cliffs, if you added cliffs, you might come across something like this where your character ends up walking across something. Just, you know, cheat. Add some tiles there. No one's going to know. I mean, except for everyone who's seen this tutorial. But as you can see, I fixed most of this. I fixed the trunk here that I accidentally highlighted this part of the trunk. I fixed that. And I fixed this tree. And it didn't take too long. Once I put everything in more folders, it didn't take very long at all. Oh, I didn't fix this part, so I gotta fix that. But I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish what I was doing. So, sorry. See ya. Alright, so I just realized that this video has already reached 40 minutes, 41 minutes, so I have decided to go ahead and finish this up in part 4. Part 4, this map will be complete, and we'll do the eventing and put in the treasures just for fun. So it'll be a really short video, but I think it's for the best. So stay tuned.